नमस्ते सीताराम तपाईहरु सबैलाई आजको प्रोग्राममा स्वागत छ वेलकम एभ्रीबडी Thank you for joining this program. We had done similar program, the youth talk program, a long time ago before the registration of this organization, Hindu Buddhist Foundation. So this program is being organized here in Vancouver by our temple. The organization name is Hindu Buddhist Foundation. हामी नेपालीहरुले बनाएको मन्दिर हो यो हामीले जस्ट सुरु गरेको मात्रै छ भ्यान्कुभरमा अनि यसरी चाहिँ युथहरुलाई चाहिँ लिसन गर्ने so that you will understand properly that's why we organize this program today. So in future also if it looks good everybody liked then maybe in summer time we'll organize again. So that's my just welcome message. So I'd like to invite first Pranob Lama from Edmonton. So Pranob, the floor is yours. Now you can start. Before that, I will make you the speaker view. अरूले चाहिँ म्युट गरिदिनु होला है स्पिकरले मात्रै खोल्नु होला
Okay, TikTok?
Good.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Uncle. On behalf of Anjanya team from Edmonton, I wanted to just thank Hindu Buddhist Foundation of Canada for this wonderful opportunity for not just youth, but parents as well, the whole community. I hope everyone can learn something today. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. All right, I'll just start. I have a question to start. The question is, how do we get long-lasting happiness? It's kind of a deep question for this early in the program, but I want everyone to just think about this question, you know, as we go on, as we move forward, just in the back of your mind, and figure out if you can get the answer to this question by the end of this program. Okay, so I wanted to start off with my personal experience with meditation and yoga. Okay, so I haven't been doing meditation all that long, but it's been 3 years. Before that 3 years time, I really looked into this question of how do I get long-lasting happiness? Because we see it in a lot of media forms that money, power, like all these other things like fame, they don't buy happiness. Like celebrities, artists, in all sorts of media, we see that it doesn't like provide happiness. This is in our music, our films, our movies, everything. So I asked the question, how do we get long-lasting happiness? I never really found the answer that I was looking for, but I found the answer that I needed. And I think this really came from meditation. So I learned meditation 3 years ago in a practice called Mahayogi Siddha or Mahayoga. That was derived from Hinduism. And after that, I also learned a Buddhist meditation method called Anapana, derived from Vipassana. I think the Mahayoga meditation really stuck with me because even though I didn't know all that much about meditation or anything, and I didn't even see the importance at the time, I really just thought about this one point that the speaker made, the presentator made during that whole video. I mean, during that whole session, which was, he said that happiness comes from within. Like you have to search for happiness from within yourself. And I thought that was really important. I never really considered this to be a fact, But after thinking about it, after my session with the meditation, and I really got to sit with that question, really got to sit with that point. I really thought about it and I took it into consideration. So that's when I started doing meditation more frequently. And that's when I started seeing the results. I started seeing that I was more happy. I started seeing the people around me were more happy. And I did not think this was fake. So that's why I started and continued meditation. I also did the Anapana, as I mentioned before, which is a Buddhist-derived meditation method. And when I first started, I thought that it would like collide with what I've been doing right now, which was the Hinduism method. I don't think it did though. Like seeing how they operated and seeing how their techniques were used, I think the goal and the overall message of both of these cultures are almost identical. They have so many similarities, such as aspects of science. They talk about breathing. They talk about rejuvenating cells. They talk about the psychology and the brain. And they talk about so many other things, such as rituals, yoga, peace, love, nonviolence, self-service. These are all wonderful things that they all share a common goal of. So then I asked the question, like, can I do both? Can I still practice both of these techniques? Seeing like they both have equal amounts of valuable results. And you can do both, you can. But I started to see that doing one only and focusing on one only really gave me that extra push that I needed. So I only continued on with Maha Yoga, but I still remember Anapana. This being said, I think an important message that you can take from this is these two methods, these two cultures can coexist and can collaborate. And that being said, I want everyone else to listen to the following presentations with an open mind. And thank you for this opportunity.
Good job. Very nice.
Thank you, Auntie.
Yeah, that was good.
Madhuji, तपाईको म्युट छ.
Thank you, Pranav. It's excellent. एकदम कस्तो precisely time मा उले सबै एकदमै आफ्नो कुरा राख्यौ. That's great. So I would like to invite now next Siddhanta Sharma. Our Siddhanta, now it's your floor is yours. Now please proceed. Thank you.
Sitaram to everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity for me to share what I want to share. Today I have a short story about Maya. Once there was a young sage Narad. He had lots of great spiritual knowledge. That one day when he was reading his book, he found an unfamiliar word, Maya. He didn't know he didn't know much about it, so he decided that he wanted to learn more about it. He asked many great sages. Their answers never satisfied him. So he decided he would go to Narayana in Vaikuntham. He left for Vaikuntham. He told Narayana, "Oh, great Narayana, I just have one question for you for my arrival." Narayana told him, "Okay, what is your question?" Narad replied, "I want to know more about the word Maya." Vishnu smiled and said, "You will know more about it, but not now. First, let's go for a walk." So both of them went for a walk in the desert. Then hours passed and Vishnu told Narad, I want some water. I'm really thirsty. Can you go find some water for me?" Narad, without speaking a word, he went to go find water. And then he found a nearby hut. He knocked on the door. A beautiful maiden came out. The beauty of the maiden shocked Narad, and then an old man came out asking, "Sir, can I help you?" Narad told, "I'm a traveler. I just want some water, and I want to go back to where I want to travel." The old man told him, "How about you stay at my hut for few days, get some water and go." Narad immediately accepted the invitation. Few days later, the maiden and Narad were really close. And then Narad decided he would marry her. Narad asked the old man, and the old man replied, "Only if my daughter is interested, I'll marry her to you." Then one day later, they both got married and Narad stayed in the same hut. But he forgot one thing, that Vishnu asked him for water and he didn't come back with water. Then years passed and Narad became the father of three children. 12 years passed and a great flood and thunderstorm lashed the whole earth. Everywhere there was water and everybody got swept away by the flood. Narad tried to save his family, but his family drowned except for him. After the floods, Narad sat by the water crying and telling himself, "What have I done that I deserve this punishment?" And then soon he prayed to God and asked, what mistake have I done for all these years? Can you tell me? Then Akash Bhandari from the sky said, "Oh great sage Narad, I asked you to get water and it's been 12 years and you haven't even got me a drop of water. Do you remember me? I've been waiting for you." Narad was completely shocked and shattered. He's like, "Oh great Narayana, please forgive me." Narayan told him, "Yes, I forgive you, but did you understand the meaning of Maya?" Narad replied in tears saying, "Yes. When I saw the maiden, I forgot about you. When I had a family, I forgot about the world. This is Maya, illusion." The lesson is, in the universe, there are three things: God, Almighty and Supreme; creatures, non-living and living things; and Maya, illusion. God wants to bring the non and living things to where he's living. And living things want to go to God. But Maya is stopping them from seeing each other. But there's only one aspect that can get rid of Maya, a guru. And if you have a guru, he will tell you how to get rid of Maya and you can see God and God can see you. Before I'm done with my turn, I would like to share a small mantra. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sitaram.
Good job. Very nice.
Good job, Babu. Tere namro. Very nice. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Siddhanta. That's well done. Nice story. And next, I would like to invite Neetika from Vancouver. हाम्रो कल्याणजीको छोरी, NCSBC को प्रेसिडेन्ट हाम्रो कल्याण थापाजी पनि हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँको छोरी. Okay, floor is yours, Neetika. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Before I start, I want to say thank you to Hindu Buddhist Foundation for creating a safe space for youth to be able to use their voice and speak. So before I start, essentially what I'm going to be talking about is our purpose. So we all are made up of energy, and we know that through science that our energy can never be destroyed. So you essentially are forever. Your soul is who you are, but we think that our physical body and mind is who we are, when in reality, we are the observer of our life. So when I think of and question my purpose here on earth, and I'm pretty sure most of us here also question our purpose on earth, and especially me being a teenager, it is a question that I think about almost every single day. So what defines our purpose and who we are? And I think that we have mistaken what defines who we are, like your clothes, social media, the amount of likes and followers and friends online that you have, and even all the failed relationships don't define you. The truth is, all of us here have experienced pain and suffering, but we also will and have experienced happiness and peace. Having a house, car, or the amount of money in your bank doesn't define who you are as a being. So something that I've learned recently is that each of us here are allowed to rest our mind, body, and soul. We always think that, like, I have to keep working and I have to keep going and I can't give up. But in reality, you just have to rest and acknowledge that your body and your mind and your soul deserves rest. So when I think of my purpose, it is to simply celebrate life for what it is and not what we have created it to be. Life for what it is, the real life, like nature, the sun, the trees, the wind, the rain. So I just wanted to talk about that. And I hope that when you think of your purpose, it is also to celebrate life for what we have been given. So that's just what I wanted to talk about. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you,
That was
Neetika.
good, Dana.
Good job. Now, next, I'd like to invite Tejeshwi and Deepika. So please go ahead, and I believe you guys are sharing a screen. Let's try that.
मधु अङ्कल हामी दुईजनालाई नै स्पटलाइटमा हालिदिन्छ
त्यो कसरी हाल्ने हो? Hello.
दुईजनालाई नै राख्दैछ नि स्पटलाइटमा
मधुजी नमस्ते। पहिला तेजस्वीको स्क्रिनमा जानु, त्यसको माथिपट्टि तीनवटा डट छ नि, त्यो तीनवटा डटमा क्लिक गर्नु, पिन भन्ने आउँछ, पिन गर्नु, अनि त्यसपछि दीपिकाकोमा जानु, दीपिकामा गएर एड पिन गर्नु, अनि दुईजनै आउँछ सँगै साइड बाइ साइड।
उनलाई चाहिँ भयो ल, दीपिकाको चाहिँ भयो है।
अब उहाँकोमा गएर फेरि एड पिन गर्नु।
एड पिन गरिदिन्छु ल। ओके, गो हेड।
हुन्छ। Namaskar.
Sitaram.
And hello, everyone. My name is Tejeshwi Bhandari, and I am currently in part of the Anjanya Youth Circle here in Edmonton.
And I'm Deepika Gautam, and I am also part of the Anjanya Youth Circle in Edmonton. We are here today to share our knowledge on yoga and its relation to Hinduism and Buddhism.
So let's get started.
Okay, so before we start, let's talk a little bit about the morals of Hinduism, Buddhism, and its similarities. In Buddhism, there are 5 moral precepts, which is also called Panchasil, which are followed.
Wait, what are the 5 precepts?
Okay, the 5 moral precepts are: 1, refrain from violence; 2, refrain from taking what is not given; 3, refrain from the misuse of the senses; 4, refrain from wrong speech, and 5, refrain from the intoxicants that cloud the mind, such as drugs, alcohol, and smoking. So when you take a look at these precepts, they talk about nonviolence, no stealing, being kind, and not toxic. And now when we go to Hinduism, there is something called Ashtanga. The literal translation of Ashtanga is 8 limbs of yoga. These are the 8 steps to yoga. The 8 limbs are yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. And when you take a look at the first limb of Ashtanga, which is yama, it talks about nonviolence, being truthful, and no stealing. So does anyone notice a similarity?
Oh yes, I see a similarity. They both talk about nonviolence and not stealing.
Yes, that is right. They both talk about nonviolence. So as youth, this can be very beneficial to us because they both talk about good morals in life.
Oh wow, that is so cool. I never knew there were so many similarities between Hinduism and Buddhism.
Yeah, that's right, Tejeshwi. Hinduism and Buddhism are religions that are very, very similar. Another similar thing about these religions is that yoga is a pillar for both.
Wait, I have a question. Is yoga only for the physical exercise?
No, not at all. Yoga is usually interpreted as a physical thing, but in reality, it is something that benefits both, the physical, mental, and spiritual health through asanas and breath control. It is widely practiced for health and relaxation.
Thank you, Deepika. I learned so much about Hinduism and Buddhism and the morals of them. So, as Deepika said earlier, there are 8 limbs in the Ashtanga Yoga. One of those 8 limbs were asana, which in literal definition means to sit. But in further detail, it means meditative postures. So for today, we're going to be exploring a well-recognized flow of 12 asanas. Any guesses?
I can't think of anything.
Here's another clue. It is also called the sun salutation.
Oh wait, I got it. It has to be the Surya Namaskar.
Yes, it's the Surya Namaskar. The Surya Namaskar stated before is a set of 12 asanas which salute the sun.
Wow, but wait, I have a question. Can anyone do the Surya Namaskar?
Yes, the Surya Namaskar does not discriminate by age and can be helpful to anyone who tries it with an open heart. So I highly recommend everyone who is willing to stand up and join me as I demonstrate on how to do the Surya Namaskar. Now I will be sharing on how to do the flow of the Surya Namaskar. I will be playing a little audio clip, and everyone who is willing can stand up and follow me as I do the Surya Namaskar. Okay. Is everyone ready? Let's all stand up and start the Surya Namaskar. The first pose is Namaskar pose. For this asana, we are going to put our 2 feet together and do the Namaste gesture. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The second pose is raised hand pose. Inhale and arch back. Anyone with lower back pain can just slightly arch. Anyone with migraines, high blood pressure, spondylosis can keep their head straight. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The third pose is hand to foot pose. Exhale and try to touch your toes, keeping your knees straight. Anyone with knee pain or can't touch their toes can bend their knees. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The fourth pose is equestrian pose. Inhale and place your right foot back. Your left knee should be at a 90-degree angle and your hands should be on both sides of your legs. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The fifth pose is a plank pose. Hold your breath as you place your left leg back. Make sure your fingers are widely spread. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sixth pose is an 8-limb position. Exhale as you slowly drop to the ground. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The seventh pose is cobra pose. Inhale into a full cobra, keeping your toes pointed and elbows slightly bent. Anyone with lower back pain can slightly bend. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The eighth pose is a mountain pose. Exhale back to mountain. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The ninth pose is equestrian pose. Inhale as you bring your right foot forward. Anyone who has knee problems can place their left leg down and then their right foot up. Make sure your right knee is at a 90-degree angle and your hands should be on the both sides of your leg. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 10th pose is hand to foot pose. Exhale and bring your left leg forward. Now try to touch your toes, keeping your knees straight. Anyone with knee pain or can't touch your toes can bend their knees. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 11th pose is a raised hand pose. Inhale and arch back. Anyone with lower back pain can just slightly bend. Anyone with migraines, high blood pressure, or spondylosis can keep their head straight. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 12th pose is Namaskar pose. Exhale and put your 2 feet together and do the Namaste gesture. Let's do this asana for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we are done.
Thank you, Tejeshwi, for teaching us how to do the Surya Namaskar. I will definitely start doing this regularly. But what are some benefits of doing this?
So, some a lot of benefits from doing this. The exercise of the internal organs, improved sleep, stillness, and a calm mind is not just beneficial for your physical health, but for your mental and your spiritual health, because it is connected to the Surya or the sun's. You're mute.
Oh wow, so many good benefits. I now have a motivation to do the Surya Namaskar. But what time is the most beneficial to do the Surya Namaskar?
So the most beneficial time for the Surya Namaskar is at sunrise, because the Surya Namaskar Namaskar is welcoming the sun. So it will give you the energy to start your day. 3 hours after eating.
I don't know if it was only me, but you were glitching a bit. But wow, that's I'll do it and I'll start doing it in the morning. But how many times do I have to do it?
Well, so one cycle of the Surya Namaskar means 2 rounds. And right now, when I demonstrated it, that was only 1 round. So for beginners, we usually do the Surya Namaskar for 3 cycles, or we do it for 6 rounds. And we go up as we feel more comfortable.
Oh, wow. I've learned so much about this incredible exercise, the Surya Namaskar, about how to do it and all the wonderful benefits.
Yes, I have also learned so much about Hinduism, Buddhism, and their morals. I love that there are so many similarities between the 5 precepts that come from Buddhism and Yama that comes from Hinduism, like non-violence, not stealing. I believe these are really valuable lessons for this generation of youth, including myself, because they teach us about the good morals to have in life.
Also, we've learned so much from all the incredible presentations we've seen so far. We are also very sorry if we didn't thoroughly explain any of the points because of our time limit. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. But and me and Tejeshwi will answer them to the best of our abilities. So, does anyone have any questions?
I think we're good, Deepika. If anyone has any questions, they can unmute now, but I think we are good.
Yeah, okay. So it does seem that our time is running out, don't you think so, Tejeshwi?
Yes. Well, before we go, we just wanted to say thank you to the Hindu and Buddhist Foundation for organizing this event and Madhu Uncle, who is hosting this event for everyone today. And I'd also like to say special thanks to everyone who gave us the chance to share our knowledge with each and everyone here today.
We also highly appreciate everyone who attended this event and listened to all the informative presentations. This has been an enchanting experience for both Tejeshwi and myself. And with that, I would like to end our part in this program. So Tejeshwi, it's time to say
Namaste.
Sitaram. And
Namaste.
Thank
and
you
goodbye.
so much. Thank you, Deepika and Tejeshwi. Great. Nice presentation.
That was nice, Nanoru.
Very nice.
Thank
Good job.
you, everybody.
Thank you.
Excellent. Very good sharing of your experience.
So next, I'd like to invite Gaurab Acharya for your presentation.
All right.
Floor is yours, Gaurab.
Awesome. Thank you guys for your presentations. It was really awesome to hear everybody's perspectives on everything and just like how you guys thought about life and your purpose and your perspectives on Hinduism and Buddhism. It was really interesting to hear. And I prepared a quick presentation for you all as well. Let's just see. Can you all see my screen right now? Yeah. All right. Awesome. So yeah, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the lessons from ancient Eastern philosophy. A lot of what I learned was from the Gita and Heart of Buddhist teachings. These are my main things that I learned from, and I just wanted to share with you guys. So my goal with this presentation is to provoke some new thought or perspective. I think we can get into our own bubble of like thought, and we see the same things on social media. We see that our friends think the same way, and hopefully I can share some new ideas that can maybe bring some new perspectives. But a lot of you already know a lot of these things, and I think just to go down on some concepts would be interesting. Discuss some key takeaways from the Gita. For me personally, I read the Gita last year, And since I've read that, I've learned a lot because I was in a point where I was in university, it was a new setting, new experience, and there's a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. And I was wondering, like, what can I do to, still feel good while I was doing my actions? And I felt like the Gita was like the best way for me to understand that. And then to see the similarities between the Gita and Buddhist teachings, although they may be different in some perspectives, they do tend to have the same actions themselves. And I'll try to take some practical tips that we can take away and maybe apply into our own life. And yeah, these are just some things I've learned along the way. So the main resources that I've used, and basically all the ideas from this presentation are from these three main resources. Almost all of it's from the Gita translation from Nicholas Sutton. He did his PhD thesis in the Mahabharata and is the education director of Oxford for Hindu Studies. I tried reading the Gita, Bhagavad Gita by Swami Prabhupada, who like originally translated the Gita to English, but for someone that's never like really dived into this kind of content before, it's really hard for me to like step into that and like understand all the characters, and like there's so many little things that I just didn't understand. I feel like this translation maybe understand like context. It had commentaries, and there's three traditional commentaries of the Gita made by Shankaracharya, Ramanuja Acharya, and Madhvacharya. And Nicholas Sutton takes in all perspectives of the commentaries and kind of produces, oh, Shankaracharya says this, Madhvacharya says this, and just takes in the different perspectives. The second one is the Gita for Daily Living. It really dives deep into the concepts, because for me reading, I would read maybe like a chapter at a time, but there's so many concepts inside one chapter, and it's very hard to like dive deep into what they're really saying. And each episode is about 20 minutes. So on the drive to campus, I'll just listen to it and just try to get some new perspectives every single day. And then I've just recently been reading The Heart of Buddhist Teachings. I noticed that a lot of the teachings that I've been learning were around Hinduism, and I really wanted to understand the Buddhist philosophies and like the core teachings of Buddha. And it's made by Thich Nhat Hanh, who is a Vietnamese Buddhist monk. And he really writes in a simplistic manner that's like really easy to understand. So I highly recommend these resources. So the Gita context, I think the context is really important before we dive deep into some content. It takes place before a really big civil war between the Kauravas and Pandavas. And the Kauravas and the Pandavas are actually related. So Arjuna is on the side of the Pandavas, Duryodhana is on the side of the Kauravas, and they're cousins. But they're in a civil war and they're battling each other, and that's the Mahabharata. And the Bhagavad Gita, where it starts from, is the point before the war starts. And it's the discourse. Arjuna is an archer, and Krishna is his charioteer, and he wants to see the middle of the battle before he starts the war. And he sees his friends, he sees his relatives, and he sees his teachers, and he's although he's been training his whole life to be a warrior and to be an archer, if the time comes to fight evil, he no longer wants to fight after seeing these people. And Krishna has like a discourse and his explanations as to why to fight. And this quotation kind of sums it all. It's like Arjuna's understanding of the nature of his existence, his place in the cosmic order, and why he has to take part in the coming battle. And so now we get into the concept of dharma, which is really important. The Gita, it has like two different definitions. So like virtuous conduct, and it has like the social duties that are bound to like the social class. And although we don't live in a feudal kingdom anymore, I think we can still take some of these interpretations into the modern setting. And from this verse in chapter 2, it says, considering the nature of your personal dharma, you should not hesitate. For a Kshatriya, there's nothing superior to fighting in accordance with dharma. So Kshatriya are the warrior class, and for him, he's been training his whole life, and it is his dharma or his duty to fight evil if necessary. And although this might sound violent, I think the Gita was trying to explain from and a perspective, like an extreme perspective where it's life and death. But we can take, if we don't take it literally and we take what it's really trying to say, it says like each person has their own inner nature, what they're drawn towards certain things. Some people are drawn towards art, some people are drawn towards science, music, social work, whatever it may be. But I think it's our duty into this world to fulfill our duty without desire or personal gain. A lot of the things that we do, we think we have to do something for a certain goal, for a certain result, but maybe we should try to do actions without desire for personal gain, but just for the sake of doing that action, you enjoy doing that action themselves. And then that's when we get to the point of action in karma yoga. Karma is a really big part of Hinduism, Buddhism, and we always say that every action has a reaction in another sense. So if you do good actions come to you, bad actions come to you. But why do we do certain actions is like a question we may ask ourselves. If we study, we want to get good grades. If we work, we want to get money. It's mainly for the result, most of the times. And the focusing on the result is maybe causing anxiety or stress for that certain result. So say I'm pressured for a test coming up soon, all I can think about is, oh, am I going to do good on the exam? Am I going to do good on the exam? And it may cause that stress and anxiety. But what if we did the action for the sake of learning the action? We may be able to dive deeper and maybe learn more to do better in the exam, in a sense, right? And often it's opinions of others and the thought of others that maybe stop us from doing certain actions as well. So in this 2 verses, Krishna says to Arjuna, when a person gives up attachment for the fruits of action, so the result, is always satisfied and is not dependent on any other, even though he is engaged in action, he performs no action at all. And this is really hard for me to understand, like, how do you perform no action at all if you're performing actions? And the commentaries were saying that it's all mentally, it's all in your head, how you perceive things. And you're engaged in action, there is karma, but inside your head mentally, you won't feel the result of those actions. Even in the good times and the bad times, you'll still feel good and happy. And the same thing, that's what it says below, is if he is satisfied with whatever befalls him, transcends duality. So karma, the good and bad, is free of envy and is equal in success in nature. Even though he engages in action, he's not bound by it. And this is the idea of philosophy of akarma, breaking away from karma, and you're no longer bound by your actions. So if you do a certain action, you're waiting for a certain result, then you're bound by karma. But if you do the actions simply for doing the actions, whatever happens, you won't even feel that, and it won't affect you. And I listened to a talk by Swami Sarva Priyananda, who is like part of the Vedanta Society. And he had an idea of like how to practice karma yoga. He asked someone like, what do you do daily to like, to have some devotion to God or to yourself, spirituality? The other person says, I give a fool to Hanuman every single day in the morning before I go to work. And he's like, oh, okay, that's something you do every day, right? He's like, yeah. All right, so what do you do for work? Oh, I'm an airport security and I check people before they go into the airlines. And he says, all right, so in order to practice karma yoga, what you can do every time you check someone, in your mind, you should give a fool to Hanuman. In that sense, you're doing the action for the sake of action and you're showing devotion to God, if that's the way you want to do it, through bhakti. And then now since we're talking about action and what type of actions that we're doing, I think Buddhism has like a really good concept of samatha and stopping, because what's causing us to act certain ways? We have like this idea of that we have a habit energy that may be pushing us into doing many different actions without even thinking about it. And he says, Thich Nhat Hanh mentions that if we cannot stop, we cannot have insight. So there's a story that he mentions is about a man and a horse, and the horse is galloping quickly and it appears that the man is going somewhere important. And the other man on the side of the road asks, like, where are you going? And the man on the horse says, I don't know, ask the horse. And we can relate this into our own lives. Like we pick up our phone and swipe a little bit without even knowing why we check up our phone. We turn on the TV, scroll through the channels, and don't even know why we're watching TV. Like, why are we doing certain actions? And there's the practice of mindfulness is very important and is an important concept of samatha. And that's the first step. The second step is calming. And calming, let's say we're angry, for instance, and we're trying to go through the stages of the calming. We have the first part, which is recognition. So if I'm angry, I know anger is within me. And number two is the acceptance. So if I'm angry, I accept that I'm angry. And number three is embracing. Buddhism talks about this really important concept, or this loving concept of you embrace your emotions just like a mother holds their newborn baby. So you embrace that emotion, really take it in. And number four, you look deeply. So when we're calmed, we can look deeply and see what caused this anger, in a sense. And then number five is, that's when we get insight. So after looking deeply, we can find things within our neural patterns, our psychology, to see that maybe I got angry because this is how I always get angry, and this has happened since I was a child because of this incident, and you can go down this pathway. Or you're upset because your friend was mean to you, but then you remembered his family member passed away and he's not feeling so good himself. And then so we can take these things and be more mindful as we're living through life. And the third part of samatha is resting, which was mentioned before. So the resting part that Thich Nhat Hanh mentions is that he has a story of, like, if you throw a pebble into a river, it'll sink into the rock bed and let the water flow above it, and it'll just stay still. And he says that we must be like that pebble, and we must let just the thoughts flow and just rest. He says when animals in a forest get wounded, they find a place to lie and they rest for many days. So if we take some time to rest, we can heal ourselves spiritually. And I think it's a really important step that is also a part of purifying our mind. And I think it's an important concept of just like being comfortable with yourself, being comfortable being alone, and being comfortable being happy, and not really worrying about your current situation, being solid. And then now we move on to the description of God from the Gita. So the way I viewed God, this made me rethink the way I viewed God throughout my life. I've always noticed that there are many different gods, and I wonder why, like, oh, these certain gods represent certain things. How is that possible? I've always questioned that. I was skeptical, I was curious, and I think this really brought things into perspective. So the first quote is chapter 10, verse 20. It says, Krishna says, I am the Atman Gudasheka, situated in the hearts of all beings. I am the beginning of all living beings. I am their middle and their end as well. So this is where the idea, the philosophy of the Atman comes in. It says that our soul is interconnected with a supreme deity that cannot be seen or viewed by the human eye. Krishna then mentions after these few verses is that he is Vishnu, he is the Ganga river. For mantras, he is the Gayatri mantra. He is situated in everything. So then Arjuna really gets curious and asks, like, can I truly see what you are then if I cannot see through your human eye, through human eye? And he gives him divine vision to like end up actually seeing him. And he says, if 1,000 suns were to rise in the sky at the same time, each with the blazing effulgence, it may then resemble the wondrous radiance of that great being. So I noticed the words, the radiance, seems like some kind of energy and like a divine energy. And I thought, and this was mentioned before, is like scientifically says the first law of thermodynamics says like energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred from one form to another. So in a sense, we can kind of interpret it that if God is an energy, we can take in that energy and do good for ourselves as well, show energy to the world. And that's when we get to the concept of Indra's net, which is really interesting concept. And it's the idea that we have single nodes. So each little node right here, there's a node right here. Each node is supposed to represent an Atman, so a soul. And then it's to display the interconnectedness of the souls. and the world. It says Indra is like the king or lord of the sky, and this like kind of what Indra views from the world. And it's like the interconnected as all beings, and it's also reflective in nature. So everything that happens around us can also, we reflect those same things within our life as well. And it also represents illusion and Maya, is like what we're seeing reality, because if everything is a reflection, what are we actually seeing? And it's the idea of the illusion in Maya itself. And Hinduism tends to focus on the nodes, so the Atman itself, while Buddhism tends to focus on the connections between the nodes and how can we be more, show more compassion, empathy, and then how our karma can affect other people's karma as well. And this is the idea, like, how do we tap into our divinity? So if we have a soul that is connected with the supreme deity, then why is there still bad things happening into the world? Why do people still do bad deeds? Why do some people do good deeds? And it's the act, the Gita mentions the actions of purifying our mind. And the actions of purifying our mind, because we won't be able to tap into our divinities if our habit energies are the ones that are pulling us. We don't know where we're going, we don't know what we're doing. So if we do actions of purifying our minds, such as yoga, meditation, the things that we find or the knowledge that we get will be largely better, in a sense, more divine. And the actions that we take can be a lot better and more compassion. We can show more empathy to the people around us. So some actions to purify our mind are, as mentioned in the last presentation, where the Patanjali's Ashtanga Yogas, the yoga of 8 limbs. And we went into this already, so I won't go very deep into that, but these are some explanations of that as well. The Gita mainly mentions pranayama and dhyana, and then talks about samadhi. And then we also have Buddhist meditations. I'm just getting started with them. So like, these are the 2 that I've just learned about, which is samatha, stopping, mindfulness that we talked about, and vipassana, which is looking differently. And then with this, we can, purify our actions, find better knowledge. If we purify our mind, we find better knowledge, and then better actions into this world. So I just want to summarize. I took up a little bit of your time, but I think main ideas that I wanted to get out were to stop, meditate, and look deeply on like what you want to do, your purpose in your life, and really just think about those things. And then work on doing actions for the sake of doing actions, not the rewards of it, and fulfill your duties. Your social responsibilities. If you're a student, work hard in your studies. If you're a parent, you have responsibilities of taking care of your child and certain things, right? And these are really hard things to do simply for doing the actions, and it's a continuous process, so it's never ending. And do actions that purify your mind. And yeah, that's my presentation.
Good job. Thank you, Gaurab.
Thank you. Great job. Thank you so much, Gaurav.
Thank
job,
you.
Babu.
Great job, Gaurav.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gaurab. Well done. Nice presentation. अब कसैको केही क्वेशन डिस्कसन गर्ने हो भने छोटो डिस्कसन गरौँ. मोस्टली यङ जेनेरेसनले नै अलि प्रेजेन्टेसन गर्नेहरूलाई नै सोध्दा हुन्छ. You guys can ask the person who spoke today, who did some presentation. So if you have any questions, you can ask now. Let's do that for next 10 minutes, then we can wrap up. Any question to anyone?
मधुजी नमस्कार.
नमस्कार सुशीलजी. हजुर.
त्यो गौरव कता गए? गौरवले त्यो बुद्धिज्मको रेफरेन्सको बुक भनेको थियो नि यहाँ. पन्सुलले नाम के भन्नु?
It's The Heart of Buddha's Teaching.
The Heart of Buddha's Teaching?
Yeah.
Who's the author?
Thich Nhat Hanh. I'll type it in the chat.
Just give me a second. I'll write it down. He had to go to work. What was the title? Sorry.
The Heart of. Sorry, I'm just typing it right now. By Thich Nhat Hanh.
Yeah, that's Thich Nhat Hanh. Is that a Vietnamese?
Yeah, it's a
guy you
Vietnamese
said?
name.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
अरु केही क्वेशन छ अथवा कसैलाई बोल्न मन लागिरहेछ अरु युथहरुलाई कसैलाई यङ जेनेरेसनलाई
हजुर नमस्कार
नमस्कार नमस्कार
दुईटा शब्द राख्नु पाउँछ होला भन्ने म अनुमति चाहन्छु
हजुर हस्
अनि सबै मित्रलाई प्रणाम दर्शन सम्पूर्ण तपाईं साथै गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरु महेश्वर सबै मित्रतालाई म त पहिलो पटकमा यो यस्तो मिटिङमा जोइन हुन पाउँदाखेरि धेरै खुसी लाग्यो र अरु अनेकता सौभाग्यहरूले जुन खालको रिप्रेजेन्टेसनहरू गरिराख्नु भएको छ उहाँहरूको लागि कुनै पनि सचेतता र यसलाई संलग्न राख्ने कुराहरू र कसरी अर्को क्वेसनहरू पाइन्छ भने म पनि नेक्स्ट अपर्च्युनिटीमा एउटा यस्तै समय राखेर एक्सप्लेन गर्न चाहन्छु र बनाउन सुनाउन र शेयर गर्न चाहन्छु भन्ने वचन राख्दछु
हस् थ्यांक यू अवश्य नै यसले यो अनलाइन यो जुमले चाहिँ हामीलाई निकै नजिक बनाएको छ जति टाढा भए पनि र यस्तो इभेन्टहरु गर्न एकदम सजिलो भइरहेछ अहिले आएर हामी डेफिनेटली एउटा प्रोग्राम आयोजना गरौँला भविष्यमा
Namaste, I just wanted to say it was so great hearing everybody's different experiences about their view of spirituality. I think I learned a lot just hearing from you guys. I joined a little bit later because of the time difference, but I really enjoyed the presentations and I thought they were really clear. I really enjoyed what you said, Gaurab, about the different aspects and also how we can apply Hinduism and Buddhism to our life practically. While it can seem like stories and different mythology, I think it has real relevance in our life, especially as youth, trying to develop ourselves and grow. So I just really enjoyed the program. So thank you so much to all the organizers.
Thank you. Anyone?
अदितिले चाहिँ उ 10 इयर्स ओल्ड हो उले एउटा क्वेशन यहाँ टाइप गरेको मैले देखे थिए
यस सरी क्वेशन मिस
10 इयर्स को लागि चाहिँ कुन चाहिँ गीता चाहिँ सिम्प्लिफाइड अलि सजिलो र अनि रिफर गर्नुहुन्छ पढ्नलाई भनेर उले त्यहाँ टाइप गरेको थियो त्यहाँ
ए सरी मैले मिस गरे मेसेज हेरिन छु Gaurab, do you recommend anything?
Me personally, I'm not sure, but I know there's many translations out there that are for children that like can be simplified, but I'm not too sure exactly which ones. Sorry about that.
त्यो हरिजीलाई आइडिया छ भने हरिजीले के हामी सर्च गरेर शेयर गरौँला आजकल त धेरै कुरा अनलाइनमै भेटिन्छन् अनि हामी डेफिनेटली त्यो सिम्प्लिफाइड भर्सन चाहिँ सर्च गरेर हरिजीलाई कुनै थाहा छ भने शेयर गर्नुहुन्छ कि
मलाई चाहिँ ट्याक्कै थाहा भएन इंग्लिशको भर्सन चाहिँ मैले इंग्लिश चाहिँ पढाएको छैन खास मैले चाहिँ नेपाली भर्सन नै अब भनौं न नेपाली हिन्दी भर्सनहरु चाहिँ पढाएको छु त्यो भएर मलाई चाहिँ त्यति आइडिया भएन
ल थ्यांक यू सो मच प्रणव सबभन्दा सुरुमा तिमीले एकदमै राम्रो प्रेजेन्टेसन गर्यौ त्यसपछि सिद्धान्त शर्मा तिम्रो झन् राम्रो स्टोरी कस्तो राम्रोसँग प्रेजेन्टेसन गर्यौ अनि थ्यांक यू नीतिका तिमीले पनि आफ्नो एकदम कुरा राम्रोसँग राख्यौ गुड जब त्यस्तै तेजस्वी र Deepikaले झन् राम्रो दुईजना मिलेर राम्रो कन्भर्सेसन गरेर एकदमै राम्रो एकदम भेरी ग्रेट जब थ्याङ्क यू सो मच अब भ्यानकुभरमा पनि छन् एकैजनाले अनुहारहरू देख्यो होला नेक्स्ट टाइम फेरि प्रेजेन्टेसनमा फेरि भाग लिँदै गर्नु र त्यो साइडमा पनि कुनै त्यस्तो यस्तो टक प्रोग्राम भयो भने भ्यानकुभरलाई पनि सम्झिनु अनि हामी चाहिँ एकदम नजिकै छौँ यो अनलाइनले जुमले त तुरुन्तै जोडिदिइहाल्छ अनि थ्याङ्क यू गौरव आचार्य फर योर रिसर्च एन्ड योर प्रेजेन्टेसन यो गौरवले सबै आफैले गरेको मसँग केही कुरै भएको छैन उसले प्रेजेन्टेसन भन्दा 1 घण्टा अगाडि मात्रै ल्याएर मलाई देखाएको थियो कि यो छ मेरो आज भनेर गुड जब भने मैले अनि यो सबै उनीहरूको स्टडी नै हो अब उनीहरूले हामीसँग त यहाँ कति मसँग हेर्नु छ यहाँ किताब टन्नै छ तर त्यो सबै नेपालीहरूमा छ सबै धार्मिक किताबहरू छ हेर्नुहोस् यहाँ होइन तर त्यो सबै नेपालीमा छ उनीहरूले बुझ्ने चाहिँ उनीहरू आफैले चाहिँ अनलाइन किनेर अर्डर गरेर आफैले स्टडी गरेको गौरवले अरु केही क्वेशन छ भने नेक्स्ट 2-3 मिनेटमा कुरा गरौँ नभए चाहिँ र्याप अप गर्नुपर्छ विवान डु यु हेभ एनी क्वेशन
मधुजी यो एउटा छ है मसँग यो गीता इंग्लिशमा
हजुर हजुर
प्रभुपद स्वामी प्रभुपदको ट्रान्सलेसन हो क्या रे
हजुर हो त्यो अघिको गौरवले रेफरेन्स राखेकोमा त्यो पनि थियो
हो
हजुर
यो 10 वर्षलाई अलि गाह्रो होला अलि सिम्प्लिफाइड नै खोज्नु
त्यो धेरै कम्प्लेक्स
छ एकदम भास्ट छ कम्प्लेक्स छ यो
कम्प्लेक्स छ त्यो चाहिँ
र प्रभुपादको चाहिँ वान अफ द बेस्ट गीता अब अलिकति बुझ्नेहरूले भनौँ न कलेज लेभलकोले भाइ बहिनीहरूले चाहिँ त्योलाई पढ्दाखेरि चाहिँ एकदम आधिकारिक ट्रान्सलेसन चाहिँ त्यो
हो
हजुर
10-12
क्लास गएपछि काम लाग्ला अहिले 10 वर्षलाई अलि
हजुर
दिएको
हजुर
2-4 पेज पढे गरे
Yeah, I found I had to read the summary or that version first. Now I'm going to start reading that translation because now I understand the concepts a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, that's the way.
मधुजी यो जुन कार्यक्रम हजुरले आयोजना गर्नुभयो त्यसको लागि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद हामीले अब यस्तै गरेर हाम्रो सेकेन्ड जेनेरेसनहरुलाई चाहिँ बिस्तारै इन्गेज गर्दै उहाँहरुको चाहिँ भावहरु बुझ्दै के चाहिँ कसरी आफ्नो कल्चर ट्रान्सफर गर्न सकिन्छ त्यो किसिमको कार्यक्रममा चाहिँ यसरी सहभागिता गराउँदै लान सक्यौं भनेदेखि हाम्रो कल्चरल प्रिजर्भेसन र हाम्रो भनौं न जेनेरेसन टु जेनेरेसन जाने एउटा जुन परम्परा हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ अक्षुण्ण रहन्छ र यो असाध्यै राम्रो कार्यक्रम भयो त्यसै राम्रो कार्यक्रम भएको हुनाले मैले पनि हाम्रो एडमिन्टनका भाइ बहिनीहरुलाई चाहिँ इन्करेज गराएँ कि ल केही तयारी गरेर प्रेजेन्टेसन गरौँ भन्ने साह्रै खुसी लाग्यो अब त्यस्तै कार्यक्रम हुँदै जाओस् शुभकामना
हस् थ्यांक यू हरिजी एकदमै सपोर्टको लागि हेर्नु न हामी अब 30-35 जना कति थियौं त्यसमध्ये चाहिँ मोस्टली भनौं न अलमोस्ट हाफ चाहिँ त्यतिबाट हुनुहुन्छ हैन एकदमै खुसीको कुरा हो
हैन हामी नजिकै छौं अब हामी एउटै कम्युनिटीको मान्छे हौं अलिकति डिस्टेन्स मात्रै टाढा हो
त्यति हो
सबै कुरा उस्तै छ र हिन्दू बुद्धिस्ट भाइ बहिनीहरुले पनि राम्रोसँग गरे हाम्रो बेसिक जिस्ट चाहिँ दुवै उसको एउटै नै छ उस्तै किसिमको छ हैन त्यो हाम्रो एकदम राम्रो कोएक्जिस्टेन्स छ नेपालमा पनि र त्यही किसिमको परम्परा चाहिँ हजुरहरुले त्यहाँ मन्दिरमा पनि चाहिँ चलाउनु भएको छ साह्रै खुसी लागेको छ एकदमै रमाइलो लागेको छ धन्यवाद
Thank you, Madhuji. I'm driving, right? That's why I'm not able to turn on my video. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone, all presenters. Gaurab has done great research. Keep it up. Really impressive. And every presenter, Siddhanta, Pranob, Tejeshwi, Deepika, and I forgot the name of the other young friend
Neetika.
from Vancouver.
Neetika.
Yes, Neetika. Oh. So it's really impressive, and my request to the organizers, if we'll have chance to organize such events, maybe in an interval of maybe 4 months or 6 months, so that will keep going, and then we'll have our something to achieve, right? Thank you so very much, Hindu Buddhist Foundation Canada.
Thank you, Deepak ji, for nice word. Next time, Reshamale pani prepare garनुपर्छ है. Next time we will contact you. अब हामी यस दीपकजीको सजेसनलाई पनि ध्यानमा राखी अब 3-4 महिनामा नै फेरि अर्को प्रोग्रामको आयोजना गरौँला र अलि एडभान्समा नोटिस दिउँला 1-2 महिना अगाडि नै। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि प्रिपरेसनको पनि टाइम मिल्छ। अनि सबैजनाले अनि त्यसै गरी अब आज जसरी गरियो त्यसै गरी अरू पनि कुराहरू हाम्रा धार्मिक कुराहरू भगवानका फोटाहरू अथवा हाम्रा पूजा भाँडाहरू यो के हो आदि कुराहरू पनि डेमोन्स्ट्रेसन पनि गर्ने। अनि यसै बारेमा चाहिँ यसो अनि हामीले भनेर सुनाउनु भन्दा पनि उनीहरूकैबाट तर्फबाट सुनाउँदाखेरि एक आपसमा उनीहरूले बुझ्छन् र चाहिँ हाम्रो जुन ट्रेडिसन हो यो मेन्टेन हुन्छ भन्ने उद्देश्य हो खास चाहिँ। यो चाहिँ यसलाई हामीले अलिक कन्टिन्यू दिनुपर्छ। हामीले आशा गरेका थियौँ अझ धेरै पार्टिसिपेन्ट, तर यो जुन आज भएको कुरालाई हामी चाहिँ धेरैभन्दा धेरै माझ चाहिँ हामी पुर्याउँछौँ यो रेकर्डिङ सिस्टम भएको हुनाले। ल आजको अरू केही भन्नु छ भने राखौँ, नभए प्रोग्रामलाई चाहिँ एन्ड गर्नु पर्ला। गङ्गाजी केही छ? हाम्रो गङ्गाजी
धन्यवाद अर्गनाइज गर्नुभएकोमा धेरै धन्यवाद। हाम्रो केटाकेटीहरू सबैले सिक्दैछन्, एकदमै इन्करेजिङ हो यो। अब केटाकेटीहरूलाई अलिअलि नलेज हुँदै आउँदैछ, उनीहरूले रिसर्च गरेर के भन्ने बुझ्दैछन्, त्यही भएकोले धेरै खुसी लागेको छ। अब यो चाहिँ कन्टिन्युटी दिनुपर्छ, टाइममा यसो प्रोग्रामहरू अर्गनाइज गरेर उनीहरूलाई इन्करेज गरिराख्नुपर्छ। उनीहरूले पनि राम्रै बुझेको यसो सुन्दाखेरि धेरै राम्रो छ प्रेजेन्टेसन एकदमै।
मेबी नेक्स्ट टाइम गङ्गाजी यस्तै प्रोग्राममा चाहिँ यो आनापाना पनि 2 मिनेटको 3 मिनेटको
हजुर हुन्छ त्यसमा
गराउनु पर्ला। गङ्गाजी चाहिँ यो विपश्यना ध्यान 10औं पटक गर्नुभएको छ, उहाँ एकदमै लिप्त। हाम्रो यहाँ जति पनि मेडिटेसन गराउने उहाँले नै गराउनुहुन्छ। ल सबैजनालाई ल थ्याङ्क यू सो मच for attending today's program and for your presentation. We really appreciate for your time. Thank you so much. Well done.
धन्यवाद मधुजी।
Can we leave?
Yes. See you next time. Bye.
Okay, bye.